Hey guys, Destinee right here. I have re-recorded this video, an updated version, remade this so that you guys can get a better understanding of what the process is like working with us to do your tax, especially if you are doing the process called recoupment, which is where you claim credits that were previously withheld from your everyday accounts. That could be your rent, that could be from your bank account, even from your W 2, from any type of loan, credit cards. Did I mention utilities, hospital bills, those sorts of things? If you wanted to know more about that, you can go back and watch my previous video that I've made on this subject. It's going to it's not gonna give you the jargon, the history. It's not a class. It's simply explaining the different types of things you can write off, why you can write them off in a very rudimentary and basic way, and what we need from you in order to get started. Um, I I have spent so much time answering the same exact questions over and over again. And then sometimes you guys would, follow up with my team and ask them the same questions. So you spent about an hour or two, sometimes three with me, and then another set with them, and then only to come back and confirm and ask me that same information. Like, guys, we're gonna need you to take notes, do a bit better on that. I am making this re-recording and update of what it's like working with us, so you can kind of get a bit of understanding. You can rewatch this, send this over. If you're sending referrals, send this over to them. But so real quick, guys, here's what it's like filing taxes, what to expect with tax monkey and accounting, especially if you are doing recoupment. And this is for our tax prep clients. First off, I want to say welcome to the family. This quick start video has got all that you need in order to get started. And usually, new clients have like lots of great questions to ask while preparing their taxes. And this video is going to help answer most of them and get you ready for the initial discovery call with Tax Monkey with your tax pro advisor. Now, here's sort of what to expect. Here's the typical tax prep process that we will follow. So, of course, you're going to want to request more information, especially if it's about recoupment and how that works and trust tax and other stuff like that. Then we would speak to you in that regards. We also will refer you to that webinar that I just mentioned. That kind of gives you a bit of background on what kind of things you can get extra credit on, extra credits that are withheld from your return, what we need from you in order to make that happen, that sort of thing. We would refer you to watch that video. We do after we gather your documentation and get your stuff, started, create your file. We would start a tax interview. We submit those first rounds of documents if your tax return is doing recoupment. We'd have to send off the first step of the process. It's a three-step process. That part has to get approved and sent off, especially if you haven't done any status correction, you haven't done any of those. We have to put together these things and for you to make a paper trail so that it will go through as quickly and as easily as possible. Of course, doing a trust tax is going to be a lot more simple than doing an individual tax, because they ask you for a whole lot more paperwork and way more hoops to jump through if you are an individual. So we have to make that paper trail. It takes a bit longer sometimes. So for those of you who are thinking that you're just going to walk straight in like you do to H&R Block or to any other mom and pop data entry tax prep service that you're used to coming to, it's not, you don't just walk in unless you're not getting any recoupment. And we don't have a line, we're taking them in the order that we received them, unless you have some, you know, basic. I kind of forgot what I was saying. I had a little bit of. I had to pause for a second. But anyway, we unless you're coming in and getting just regular tax, You're going to come in the order that were received, but you're not going to be able to just boom get your stuff sent out in a matter of like a day or two if you're doing recruitment. It's not going to happen. Your returns, however, are going to be way larger. So, the next thing would be if you had any other doc, like your photo ID or driver's license, passport, that sort of thing. If you had any docs that we need to keep for record keeping purposes, if you had any like dependent information, any profit and loss statements, depending on what type of tax you are going to be filing, then we'd actually get started on actually putting together and finalizing your return before we actually follow back up with you on what's called an exit interview to show you basically the stats, the amounts before and after any fees, what they are, and making sure that we have the instructions for your banking information, where you'd like the money to be deposited to you, or if you prefer to cut a check or to get a prepaid card. Um, Basically, after discovering Tax Monkey to do your tax, you'll basically need to reach out to us. We'll call you to, check your availability, see when will be the best time to speak with you um, in order to do the tax interview, which is where we get a better understanding of you and your situation, your employment status, if any, if you're doing a trust, what unique situations, like if you owe a tax debt, things like that, that we would actually need to take care of before we actually submit your tax. Because if we do it, then before the IRS has cleared your debt, whatever we file, they will take it and you'll get what's left. But why do that when you don't have to, lose out on any of your return and just have us to take care of it for you? We charge 10% of any tax debt, and it usually gets cleared in about 2 to 3 weeks, unless you have an extenuating circumstance where you've maybe tried to follow some process and it didn't get, there's some kind of blockage. Um, for you to submit documents, we have a mobile app which I'll cover later. That is the easiest and the most preferable way to get your docs over to us. Certain ones, depending on what they are, we'll give you the instructions during the tax interview, what goes where, how to use the software. It's really simple. You can upload, all your documents. If you don't have them, you don't have to follow up with someone each time. Did you get it? Did you get it? Did you get it? Nope. You don't have to do any of that. Just go log in and upload those documents. It's very easy. You can either upload a PDF version or you can just snap a clean, easy to view picture and submit it. Once you have submitted it, you know, you are going to want to let us know that you're finished, and then there'll be a tax code and an email address that you used, that you'll need to send over to us. The next question that we typically tend to get is people want to know, how long have we been in business? Well, we've been doing tax for about a good 3 or 4, but all in all, we've been in business over 9 years. We started offering our help to clients in need in around 2013, 2014, and have developed an expertise in workflow to best serve those in need with thoughtful and inclusive care. Needless to say, guys, we know what we're doing. Um, I know what I'm doing. National agents. Now, our team for the different departments are, we're headquartered first off in Houston, Texas, in the greater Houston metro area. But we have agents that are across the country, and from time to time for special projects, some that are actually across the world, and we have clients across the world for different things too. So needless to say, there's infrastructure there. Um, if you are an individual client, you need to file the W-2. If you have any other information, statements like the 1098-T or other informations, to be able to get a tax refund as an individual, you're going to need to gather your list of documents, the dependent information, if there's any IRS letters, and so forth. Sometimes you might get some IRS letters from a filing that we did asking for more information, Um, Sometimes they'll try to negotiate with you because they are not a government agency, they are debt collectors. And so they are negotiating. The more they can tax and penalize you, the more that they keep for themselves. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's by any law or anything for you to be afraid of. Um, just understand that. And so sometimes we have to submit, things afterwards. If you are a business, a sole prop, or you have a trust, etc., and you need to file for a tax refund and claim reimbursements or eligible credits, um, we have tax pro advisors that are second to none. I mean, there aren't too many people who can say that they know about this, how to do it, and actually provide it as a service. And one of the few um, that was in this space recently just retired. So there's even less of us now. Especially there's even less that are progressive that keeps educating themselves to keep learning things and learn different ways because they basically move the goalposts from time to time. Like this year, they've added the AI, the artificial intelligence, that has really been making a lot of triggers, and we've been having to find a lot of ways to get around these little roadblocks they've been throwing as hurdles, and we've been having to make these changes in real time. In the first 6 weeks, we submitted over $1 million in refunds. I don't know how much it is now. It's been about maybe 2.5 months now. At this point, I'd have to go and check and see. But that means we've had a lot of hurdles and like little last minute roadblocks and blunders in order to fix. So, of course, these aren't the pictures of the team, but these are the different, you know, positions, or some of them that we have on the tax monkey team. We have account execs, we have tax pro advisors who you'll see if you're doing the tax. We have this mobile tax app that I mentioned. It's a 24/7 peek into your client status. You can submit the docs as you gather them. You can sign electronically, or we adopt and sign for you. You can download your tax return. You can do all of this from the comfort of your own home and not have to drive or fly anywhere for these special kind of things to be done. You can also file multiple years. um, you as an individual can file like up to seven or so at a time, like back. But if you have a trust, which we can help you create, we have a program for that. You can go back as far as you can remember with a trust. You can also claim tax credits and deductions. Most of the times, what we notice, we are fixing returns that other tax preparers or they themselves trying to do self filing have just thrown the numbers on there, into them directly, and then they get a bill saying that they owe for some amount. And we spend a lot of time reverse engineering and fixing those. But this is pretty much it, guys, for the new tax client starter kit. So let's just go over some of the filing requirements. So you want to make sure that you submit proof of these things. You're going to need a valid form of ID, can't be expired. Um, if you have an info report, that could be a W-2, a 1099, whether it's an interest for or dividends or pensions or what have you. You're going to need to submit things like that over, and any like proof of like income if you are a business or a sole prop, which will be like a profit and loss, a P&L statement. It's also known as an income statement. We're going to need to know your refund preference. So we're going to need accurate banking details. Where do you want us to deposit your refund check to? You can also have it deposited to your TDA. No, we're not offering advice on how to set up the TDA and any of that, but if you wanted to deposit it into your TD account, you can give us that account to deposit it, and you can make the investments how you like. You can choose several options like direct deposit, a check, a prepaid card, a cash advance, or more. And then we have that client agreement, basically, and it's all done electronically. So submitting your tax info to us means that you've given us permission to prepare a return and to use your personal information in order to do so. Now, how do we normally meet? We have virtual appointments, meaning we're going to meet you um, over the phone or via Zoom. to meet and discuss your taxes. And you can do that with agents that are across the country and different time zones. Um, Now, previously we did have a physical space before COVID came, and we are going to be having more physical spaces open back up. So you will be able to see us first starting in the greater metropolitan areas, the hotspots, which is the Houstons, the Atlantas, the New Yorks, the LAs, right in the major cities to you. Now, as far as the processing times, now here's a rudimentary, very basic. Of course, at the end of the day, the IRS is the ultimate one taking the process long. We have things that we can use to kind of influence and incentivize or rush them along, but they still ultimately are the ones who are going to be doing the processing. So we're submitting the documents. We can't make them move any faster. We can put in documents to try to, hey, hurry this up. But we can't physically make them move any faster. We don't work for them. We don't work there either. So if there are technically no errors on the e-filings, then you can expect a refund in an average of 21 to 28 days, sometimes 5 to 10 business days. I've seen some as quickly as that. The order that they are sent out does not matter. There's no rhyme or reason on the way that they're processing them. It's better, of course, if we are e-filing them, depending on the circumstance, and we'll tell you if it's being e-filed or sent in through snail mail through the paper. Um, because paper, sometimes they'll lose the documents. We can get certified tracking all the way up onto the door. But as soon as someone signs for it and it gets inside their buildings, their facilities, it's pretty much the Wild Wild West. It has that same physical piece of paper has to get to where it's going. And sometimes that doesn't always happen, unfortunately. And we have to resubmit. So I would prefer to e-file as much as possible. If there are any errors or they request information, that can add an extra average of anywhere from 3 to 26 weeks, depending on them and what it is and how fast, how quickly you respond. And if it's paper filing, the paper filings take the longest but are sometimes necessary, such as when they are requesting more information, filing prior returns, or other circumstances. Now, communications policy. Sometimes we are not able to just answer the phone. It is best to make appointments. But because of the sheer type of work that we're doing, we cannot continuously have the same consultations, the same phone conversations with you guys over and over again, detailing a lot of the same information. That's why I have been re-recording and reissuing information and things like this to kind of help you guys understand the process, what to expect, kind of put your mind and your hearts at ease as far as what's going on because it is quite different. That's me trying to accommodate for that, but still, like, hey, we can't hold your hand. We're not educating you or teaching you. We're not taking a tax class. We're telling you this is what we need from you, and this is how we need it, and then this is where you need to send it to us. That's it. That's all. Some of you guys have gotten brazenly pushy, trying to force, coax, or twist, my arm about having a consultation to teach you this, and I cannot make all those accommodations. I don't offer all of this to everyone for obvious reasons because everybody's heart's not in the right place. It's a workload thing and it's not in alignment for right now. Maybe in the future, I'm not making any promises as that, but I am not teaching this, not even to the agents who come through. I'm not teaching this to every single person that comes through and wants to be a tax provider. So if you're thinking I can maybe score and get a deal and still come through the program and learn how to do taxes like with private banking and the private with trust in estate, etc., estate planning is not going to happen. It takes a lot of training and coordination. especially being that we are in different time zones to get this going, and we have a lot on our plate. Um, when it becomes available, I'll make an announcement. Right now, we're kicking off trust tax. But once your initial appointment is set with your tax pro advisor, they're going to manage your file moving from that point on, unless there's extenuating circumstances like them not being available that day or there being an issue of miscommunication as far as how things work. Typically, we would do an exit interview after we prepared your taxes to tell you, hey, this is how much your refund is, this is how much you're getting back before the tax, before fees, and after, etc. So you know what to plug in on where's my refund. Um, so you would talk by phone, by email, Zoom, or sometimes by text. And if you guys have any other questions, you can try calling that number. You can leave a text at that number. You can email me, and that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully this finds you well. I have some other things that's going through the pipeline. I've had some personal issues that I've been dealing with, and I've also have been going through and getting these returns out. We literally have over 100 people, well over 100 people that are just doing tax alone. So I've been really busy getting these things out and getting everybody on the same page. So I'm gonna be able to be making more content and videos and things for you guys. But that's it. Thanks. Definitely make sure you like, share, subscribe. Hit that bell notification for the next videos that I put up so you don't miss anything. Hopefully the sound on this was really good. If not, I already recorded. I'd hate to, but I'd have to so that you guys can get a better sound quality. But that's it, guys.